It's 7 a.m. Your alarm goes off. You hit snooze. You drag yourself out of bed, eyes half open, already exhausted, and your day hasn't even started yet. That is not a bad morning. That is every morning for millions of students across this country. And for most of us in this room, it's a reality 5 days a week. I have experienced this firsthand. As a high school student balancing school, sports, and activities, I live this schedule every single day. I'm not describing something I've read about, I'm describing something I feel in my bones before I even walk through the school doors. And here's why that matters. The time our school day starts is not just an inconvenience, it affects our grades, our mental health, and our ability to function as human beings. Every student in this room is impacted by this issue. Today, I want to make three things clear. Early school start times are actively harming students, later start times lead to real and measurable improvements, and making this change is more realistic than most people think. First, early start times are harming us. This is not just about students being lazy or irresponsible, this is about biology. Teenage brains are wired differently than adult brains. During adolescence, the body's internal clock, what scientists call the circadian rhythm, shifts. Teens naturally fall asleep later at night and need to wake up later in the morning. This is not a choice, it's a psychological fact. When schools force students to report at 7 or 7:30 in the morning, they are fighting against that biology, and students pay the price. The result is chronic, ongoing sleep deprivation, and the effects of that are serious. Sleep deprived students experience higher levels of stress and anxiety. They're at greater risk of depression. They lack the energy to focus and to learn, to retain information, or to perform on tests. And there's a safety concern that does not get talked about enough: drowsy driving. Early morning start times mean more teen drivers on the road while still half asleep, and the statistics on early morning teen accidents reflect that. We say students are not trying hard enough, but you cannot try hard when your brain is running on empty. Students are not lazy, they're sleep deprived. And that is not just a health problem, it's a performance problem too. Second, later start times actually improve student performance. When students get the sleep they need, everything changes. Research consistently shows that more sleep leads to better focus, stronger memory retention, and greater engagement in the classroom. Schools that have shifted to later start times, have seen real results: higher test scores, better attendance, and fewer disciplinary incidents. When students are awake and alert, they show up, physically and mentally. Think about what we're asking students to do. We expect them to absorb complex material, think critically, perform under pressure, and compete for grades and opportunities, all while running on 5 or 6 hours of sleep. We are setting a high bar and removing the basic conditions students need to reach it. That is not student failure, that's system failure. If we want students to perform well, we have to give them conditions to do so, and one of the most fundamental conditions is sleep. My third and final point is that change is realistic. I know what some of you may be thinking. What about sports? What about bus schedules? What about after school jobs and activities? These are fair concerns, but they are not reasons to do nothing. They are logistical changes and challenges, and logistical challenges can be solved. In fact, hundreds of schools across the country have already made this shift successfully. Districts have adjusted their transportation schedules, athletic programs have adapted practice times, communities have worked through the details and found that it is absolutely doable. The honest truth is that the main obstacle is not impossibility, it is inconvenience. Changing routines is uncomfortable. It requires coordination. But inconvenience is not a good enough reason to continue a system that is hurting students every single day. Why would we not keep a building that we knew was structurally unsafe just because fixing it was inconvenient? Student well-being deserves the same urgency. In conclusion, early start times are harming student health and development. Later start times produce real, documented improvements in performance and well-being. And the change, even though it might require some effort, is absolutely achievable. So here's what I'm asking. I'm asking school administrators and policymakers to take this seriously and look into the evidence. And I'm asking the students in this room to use your voice. Talk directly to your parents, your teachers, your school board. Advocate for this change because it directly affects you. Because at the end of the day, school exists for one reason: to help students succeed. And if we want students to succeed, we should not be starting their day by working against their own biology. If schools are meant to help students succeed, they should not start the day by setting them up to fail. Thank you.